As I fire up my Triumph and get ready for my final, let me introduce myself. I am Dan Schmitt, and this is Team Chicago Challenge. We are at Sycamore Speedway. Sycamore Speedway is the location for my first ever motorcycle race, September of 1970. Back then, I did also race a Triumph. So I was planning on doing a TV show here, but things got away from me. Between the distance from the pits to the track and the fencing, it was nearly impossible to produce a TV show. So I'm going to show you 3 good stories, and we're going to talk about some great motorcycles. And we'll show my final at the end of this show. Now we're in my good friend Al Blum's garage. He called me up and said, come on by and take a look at my Gary Nixon 500cc twin Gary Nixon replica. This bike looks exactly like the 500 Triumph that Gary Nixon won the championship in '67 and '68. And now we're going to go to a video clip, Gary Nixon, the late great Gary Nixon.
And then went to the half miles and miles. Made the main event, did fairly good. Came around Springfield time, and Cliff had built a new bike for that one. And remarkably, he had a 350 Grasshopper tire on it. I had the Goodyear Road Racer, they called it, but wasn't really a road race tire. And running with the pack, it was like 14 of it halfway at 25 miles. I remember being a 14-rider pack. And Mother Law would have kind of split away. He was on the factory hard that he'd built himself. And he had us, we didn't even see him. He was that far ahead of us. So I remember coming out of the last corner, Mark was leading, and the boy lit the rear tire up just a little bit. And back then, same as now, I suppose they do, you got to kind of get that little Springfield run, they call it, off the floor. And I had that little run on him, and he got just a little sideways. And I was always the guy for tucking in and telling all these young kids nowadays, really make sure you tuck in. A picture of the finish, I wasn't really tucked in. What I was doing, I was looking up over to make sure my front wheel was ahead of his. And didn't really realize I was going for the win until down the back straightaway. I passed Murdigan sitting there. I realized I'd, just won the race, won Springfield. And in the trophy presentation, for them what a lightweight he is, right? I got pictures of me at the trophy presentation, but I think that was all I got, just a couple of pictures. Boy, it was so hot. And won that. And then more races. Columbus is coming up. And I kind of like the track. It'd get a nice little groove, and they didn't drag that rake around the groove. I was doing okay. Freddie Nix, my friend, he was a good all-around rider. And he was a head Harley guy, and I was a head Triumph guy. And he didn't make a mistake. 10-mile national 20-lap race. He didn't make a mistake, so I got second. And they're still leading the championship points. Doing good, everything's working right, and get out to Portland, Oregon. Had a nice mile track. Maybe I won that one. Didn't really have never looked back, so I don't know how close they were, but won, and nobody passed me. I won that one. Sacramento's coming up, which I won a few years before. I had a good bike for it. People had told me all those years, they say, oh gosh, that's so unfair. Harley's got a 750 and you got a 500. My 500 are just as fast as those 750s. I think they had a giant advantage. I don't think the only advantage they had was, V-twin, maybe the traction was a little bit different there. Sacramento was running good there, right in the front pack, and had a flat tire again. These 2 flat tires turned me off of 2 nationals. And it finished with 80 points. That's Rhoda, I think, probably won the race. So it's coming down to Carlsbad. Got 2 races left.
My dear friend, the late great Gary Nixon, and we shot those videos at Al Blum's garage. We see an autograph, number plate, Triumph, world's best motorcycle. As we look at the Gary Nixon replica, Al Blum's garage, it's like being in a museum. And now we're looking at Al's late model 750 Triumph Trackmaster frame race bike, and a project bike he's working on, putting a 500cc Triumph engine in a champion frame. Back in 1998, I was involved in putting together the video for the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Field Museum. And this is the video that was produced for the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit.
Why do I love them?
Strictly because it's the only way I can really express my emotions for performance machines.
It's truly a piece of art. Functional art, yes.
These are not just motorcycles. They're high maintenance, but they're pieces of art.
You mix and match your pieces.
Just a little bit of additions that make it your own, a little bit different than everybody else's.
You take off pieces, you chrome out pieces.
There's no chrome. I'm not into chrome. I could live without chrome.
They would buy a scooter and they'd customize it with everything and anything they could find. And if there was room to put something on it, then they put it on.
If you look at the engine, you can see the love that was put into crafting every single component.
The bike weighs 3,280 pounds. It's 17 feet in length. And the builder who made it, his name is Wild Bill Gelbke.
I would build models, I would draw them. I would build models out of cardboard, out of wood, and I still do.
My next door neighbor and I would build mini bikes from Stingray bicycles. We'd chop them down and re-weld them, put a Briggs & Stratton motor on there, and just ride around the block and the police would chase us.
Power Glide, automatic transmission with reverse. It's got a truck differential off of a Chevy. Just overkill on everything.
That was one of the things I upgraded.
No single thing, because it's a composite of all these wonderful things.
I like the frame. I like this big piece here. It looks very powerful. It makes the bike look streamlined.
Disc brake on the front off of a Corvette. It's a Chevy called the Iron Duke engine that was used in the old Chevy 2.
She fixed her bike one morning with a twig off a tree and made an electrical connection so she could last another 300 miles till the wood burned out.
The way it works is what makes it beautiful.
With the hydraulics built into the bike, Bill could change the tire, front or rear, because we've got hydraulics back there. Bill would just head off that way. 3 days later, he'd be back at work, having gone to Oklahoma for no other reason than to be on the road.
Boy, it's been really exciting. It's really scary, too.
When you're doing three-digit speeds, it comes into its own, and you really feel very comfortable up there.
I feel so comfortable, and still I'm 7 months pregnant now, and I still feel great on this bike, so that makes me feel good.
I like to ride to the edge of the road to balance exhilaration and fear.
For me personally, it's the sound. I just like the way the motorcycle sounds. I like the way it performs.
And it's the feeling of freedom. It's the wind in your hair, the bugs in your teeth. And probably the best ride for me is through the farmlands, the smells. Believe it, I never thought manure could smell so good, but it sure does on a motorcycle. You be quiet.
And the fields aren't like green anymore. They start to look blue and dark, and you see the sage and stuff.
It's exciting. You've got all that power between your legs, loins, what have you, and you know, you're shifting with one hand, you're braking, you're gearing, everything is you're utilizing on the bike, and it's exciting.
It's very sexual and sensual rolled into one. Sexy.
Yeah.
It's extremely sexy. I just haven't found out to who other than myself.
You know, I miss my bike when I don't ride. Every day, at least I'm thinking about my bike, and you know, my wife, I don't think she likes that, but that's the way it is. But this one is, it's just very special to me, and it's you know, it's like my baby almost.
And here's me grabbing it exactly the way that it's supposed to be. So It's clear that at this age, I wanted to ride.
Mom used to hate me because I'd put bolts in my shoes and drag my feet down the street at night and put on a wheelie spark show. So
I've been riding illegally since the age of 12 years old.
I just turned 65, and my only regret was I didn't start a lot sooner.
You meet a lot of friends that way, and they're all walks of life. They're from mechanics to entrepreneurs. It's everything you can imagine.
I belong also to a Chicago Hawk chapter.
We have breakfast runs every Sunday morning. Different people come to those. We have a polka run every year for charity.
I ride with my dad, and I came here to help the kids.
I'm also president of LAMA, which stands for Latin American Motorcycle Association. It's an organization we've been around for 21 years now.
But also we ride with the local Abate chapter, which is a motorcycle rights organization.
Been a Motor Maid for 25 years plus. The Motor Maid's an organization that's been in existence, I believe it's 57 years.
This event that's going on here, it brings motorcyclists together to help children who have brain cancer, and I'm now the president of the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation in the United States.
I'm with the American Lawman Motorcycle Club. I'm a member of that particular club because I like working with inside the law instead of outside the law.
I think today more people are realizing that it's not the, what do you call, the Hells Angels type out there riding now. I know there's everyday people out there riding motorcycles.
You're going to find lawyers, attorneys, scientists, all sorts of people riding motorcycles. It's just a hobby. Some people like to play golf. We love our motorcycles.
And there were a couple 100,000 people up there from all different socioeconomic statuses, different backgrounds, different cultures, and for one day everybody was kind of one, and the whole thing that revolved around was a motorcycle.
We do long road trips every year where it's like a caravan, and it's like you're on a trip with your family, but everybody's much better behaved.
We have Anglo-Americans, we have Polish people in our club, we have all sorts of people. We have people from Colombia, Ecuador, everywhere. So it's a mixture of cultures in our motorcycle club.
Yeah, I've met dozens of people off the internet that are bikers.
There's so many people that your lives touch riding a motorcycle. There's not enough time on film to mention them all. But to all of you, I love you.
It was just amazing to look in my rearview mirrors and see the hills that we were crossing and just see miles of headlights from the bikes.
The experience of riding is ethereal.
You have such a sense of freedom on a motorcycle. It's the closest thing to flying.
You can't describe when you get on and you hear an engine, you hear it making noise, and when you twist your wrist a little bit, you take off like a rocket.
Racing is the one time you can go as fast as you want. I like going fast on motorcycles. That's why I race motorcycles, and I race at the track.
You're out on a bike, it's kind of like a time machine, you know. The scenery's moving by you really slow, doesn't matter how fast you're going, and everything just kind of slows down.
It's kind of spiritual, actually. When you get out there early in the morning and you're all by yourself and you go by a herd of cows, it's just, I feel closer to the Creator, I really do.
Motorcycling for me has become a channel of self-improvement. For some people it is yoga, others find it through meditation. For me it is two wheels and a twisting highway.
It's very cleansing for me to do these kind of trips, and calming, and I feel really, for me, that's God. Getting out into nature is God.
We have a ceremony that starts out with some scripture readings. Then following that, we go around and he blesses each individual bike and rider for a safe riding season for those that are riding and the bikes that they are riding upon.
If I never rode a bike again, I'd probably be dead in a short while. It would be very tough. I'd have to reconstruct who I am, I think.
For me, motorcycling is more of an activity when I'm involved with others that you do rather than talk about.
We are the participants in life. We're not the folks that sit home on our sofas and watch television all day long, but rather we get out and live life and are participants.
I'm more excited to be a rider than a passenger. I want to be in control of my own destiny.
And it's habit forming. Like I said before, once it gets in your blood, you want to do it all the time.
They ride it for a few minutes, and they say, whoa, I have to have this.
I thought, why haven't I done this yet? And it's the best thing I ever did for myself.
Really, other than having my kid, it's about the best thing I've ever done.
And you just enjoy your ride home, even if there's traffic, you enjoy it.
I'll never sell this bike. This bike will be with me forever.
Hopefully I can continue to ride, you know, for the rest of my life.
It's just fun to ride. And I love it. I mean, what else can I tell you?
You can't beat it. It's the all-American sport, and it has no boundaries as far as age or gender or religion, and you know, you just have to go for it.
There's really nothing quite like it.
And that was the video clip I had the opportunity to work on back in 1998. Now we're heading up to Kenosha to meet Ken Rotman and John Gregory at Ken's British Classic Museum and Shop.
Hi, I'm Ken Rotman. This is my place, Ken's British Classics. I'm starting a museum here, a non-for-profit motorcycle museum. Vintage motorcycles, and I work on exclusive antique motorcycles, and this is it. Come on in.
First, we're going to look at this beautiful 750 BSA in a Trackmaster frame. A genuine BSA built 750. 202 engines were built 750. To meet the new AMA rules that allow overhead valve engines to race 750 cc's in a Trackmaster frame. This gorgeous motorcycle that Ken had a chance to race, it belongs to my friend John Schwartz that used to own the Yamaha shop in Zion, Illinois. Now we're looking at a 1966 BSA A65T Thunderbolt, a gorgeous 650 street bike. Back in those days, there was always the argument, which was the faster bike, the BSA, the Triumph, or the Nortons. Well, they're all fast bikes, and they're all beautiful motorcycles. And one of the guests that Ken had at the museum on this day was John Gregory. He was the designer and tuner of the Hogslayer. Let's go to the signing of the poster.
We have John Gregory here, who was 1970, what? 1971, when was the first year?
The first Hogslayer?
First?
1968 and 9.
1969.
The one in the picture was our 72 version.
Okay. When was the first?
Built in 71.
When was the world record holder first year?
1970. That was the high gear bike.
1970.
The high
Was
gear
it
bike
two-speed?
went 180 and a quarter mile. It was a high gear with a 4-inch tire. The ET wasn't that good, but he had more time to get up to speed with it.
How many seconds?
It ran in the high 8s.
High 8s.
890s, a couple times. Most of the time was in the low 9s.
Yeah. And I'm going to have John sign the picture. TC's already signed it. And I'm going to have his best friend, John, sign it.
Now this bike in the picture ran in the 7s.
7s?
Yeah, high 7s.
High 7s.
But the high gear bike that went 180 was in the high.
How many years did you have the world record? 4?
5.
5? 1970 to 1975?
Yeah. Joe Schmitt took the record from us. He went a 182.
Did he have a 2-speed?
Did Russ Collins ever beat you guys?
Once in a while.
Yeah.
The one year that we talked about in the movie, we ran 13 races. We won 11 of them. And Russ Collins beat us at the English town, New Jersey. And it's one of the few times we just couldn't get it going fast. I mean, it was going real fast, but not quite fast enough, you know.
Now we're going to go into the motorcycle finals while we wait for Grumpy Jenkins and his final run in pro stock competition against Bob Glidden. Larry Welch, as you saw from the graphic indicating the progression from the semifinals into the finals. Larry Welch of Landover Hills, Maryland, against T.C. Christenson of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now this is Welch right here, and he'll be running in the near lane. Christenson on a double Norton will be over in the far lane. Welch is on a Triumph. About $3,000 on the line right here. Great start for Christenson, and he runs away with it. T.C. Christenson of Kenosha, Wisconsin. On his twin Norton-powered bike, goes whistling down and wins easily. He got a big jump on Larry Welch at the start and was never in trouble. The undercarriage scraping along as darkness settles in here. There is no fire, but it's a big win for T.C. Christenson, some $3,000.
And now a clip of T.C. Christenson taking his twin-engine Norton down a runway for the British bike owners, his friends from Wisconsin. And back at Ken's shop, John Gregory signs the Hogslayer poster. Two great motorcycles, three great stories. The Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Field Museum, I was lucky to be involved with that. Gary Nixon's 500 Triumph and his story. And the story of Hogslayer, the twin-engine Norton built by John Gregory and T.C. Christenson. Now at Sycamore Speedway, because it is a stock car track, everything is covered with chain link fencing. I did not make a commitment with the promoter or the track owner to shoot a TV show. So I did not get permission to go in the infield where I should have been shooting from. But things were pretty confusing. There was no announcer during the heat races, and nobody knew exactly when the races were running in what particular order. But this was not an AMA race, so I had the opportunity where the Team Chicago helmet cam. So I'm going to show you my final event and hope in the future better arrangements are made. As I pulled to the line, but I'm the only person that brought a 750 or open twin motorcycle. So they lined me up with two other classes. But at least I get to see what Sycamore Speedway is all about. But when we ran here, my first race was in September of 1970, the last race of the year, and they ran a TT using a kidney-shaped TT track with a jump like Santa Fe Speedway. And we ran a weekly program at Sycamore Speedway. And in 1971, they did run an oval once or twice, and I did pretty good at that. The Triumph ran great, and as you could see, I was not staying on the gas long enough or getting back on the gas quick enough. This is what short track racing is. You got to be on the gas and then maybe off the gas for a split second and then back on the gas. At least by the time the finals ran around, the track was in really nice shape. I wish it was this nice during practice. But at least I could say my Triumph ran nice and clean. But there was failings for this event, and I hope they do better in the future. They're planning another race in September, from what I understand. And I missed turning in off the back straightaway. This is my first race of the season. For more information on the Field Museum, the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at fieldmuseum.org. For Ken's British Classic, Ken brought his great collection to the Free State of Arkansas. For information on Sycamore Speedway, it is sycamorespeedway.com. National Flat Track is nationalflattrack.com for more info. Well, I'm happy I got to race this track again 47 years after the last professional AMA Regional Championship short track at Sycamore Speedway. To contact me, and I love to hear from my audience, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for great motorcycle racing action, Dan Schmitt Politics to learn what makes America great. And I highly encourage you to visit the World of Motorcycle Museum. They're in Winamac, Indiana, 4 miles south of North Judson. They're on the highway, Indiana 39, but give them a call first at 574-896-3172. It's a great trip and a great collection of motorcycles. And pick up a copy of the Team Chicago History Package. It's only at Rich's Yamaha in Lockport, Illinois, but give them a call at 815-838-8130. Their website is richesyamaha.com. Pick up your free Team Chicago History Package. And I'm putting up some dates of a couple of Walneck swap meets coming up. Make plans to have fun at a swap meet and learn something about the history of motorcycles. And I will be putting a few dates of races coming up: Wauseon, Ohio, Ashland, Ohio, and Peoria. So tune in every week.